podcast on a functional medicine group last week on wild health, and then I've done some stuff with you. I'm getting a little bit more urgent. So this is what I want everybody in our audience to get: a pulse oximeter. Okay, I started thinking this a couple of weeks ago, and I was thinking of my wife, who, when she gets extremely nervous, hyperventilates. Okay, here's what our audience needs to know: nobody needs to go to the hospital the next 90 days. Okay, that is probably the highest risk thing, more than coronavirus, is to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm talking about is triage, personal triage for myself, for my wife, for my family. Pulse oximeter, I think, will play a role in that. I talked to a pulmonologist yesterday. He thought it was a great idea, right? So if you do have, you're sick, you're hacking, and you get short of breath, is this like the moment that you go? So get a baseline reading. And he said, you drop below 90, that might be the time. Upper 80s, probably time to head to that place, right? Now, the other thing we talked about, and this just came in, what do they call this? A navage.
Navage,
okay?
yeah.
So I've been doing more research on this, and I think there's more to this than I actually gave credit, right? My theory was that you and I have been talking about oral biofilms, and you've been taking all this advanced sleep training about the nasal biofilm in essence. So the portal entries to this virus are the mouth, the nose, to a lesser degree, possibly the eyes, okay? So I'm saying pristine oral hygiene is a defensive mechanism. But gosh almighty, saline rinses with this thing. I'll actually demonstrate it at some point. I've watched the YouTube videos. They're amazingly disgusting, right? Yeah. But seriously, my daughter is a ICU nurse. She texts me horror stories every day. I got her one. I said, listen, before you go to work, I want you to do this saline, sinuses and nose, and when you get home from work. Okay, these are preventive measures, right? You and I have been talking about prevention for years. But these two measures, the pulse oximeter and the nasal lavage, I think are legit. Now, evidence-based, no, but at this point, we're in quarantine, right? And it's every man for themselves.
Exactly.
So let's be creative. Another comment here. Let me try out my new application here. So we're going to talk about dental hygiene. That's going to be our little niche and the Phoenix Dental Project. And I want to talk about I texted you this today, the pendulum and the guillotine. I just loved it. Okay. Yeah. So here's what's happened in dentistry for the last 10 years or 8 years. We've had this tremendous pendulum of success, social media, everybody doing great, startups, whatever. And if we're not careful, and what I'm seeing on social media right now concerns me greatly, that pendulum can become a guillotine. Okay. You and I have been focused on dental hygiene, which is a 1/3 component of the business of dentistry. I don't see anybody talking about hygiene. They're saying, oh, take this downtime to review this, review that, learn how to. I'm like, okay, people, do you not know what's about to happen in hygiene? Okay, so here's what's about to happen in hygiene. They are going to go into the highest occupational risk category for these bioaerosols until someone figures this out in a hurry. Okay, meaning I think some are going to quit, don't you? I mean, does that seem reasonable to you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to say, I'm 20-something years old, I have a family, I want to have a family, I'm not going to go into an office. Because the other thing I've talked about in the last few days, this virus is officially endemic. We talked about that.
Yeah,
it's in the seasonal cocktail. Now, what happens down the road as far as immunizations or antivirals? Okay, but it's still going to be something to deal with, and I think it is more severe than anybody has given it credit. Okay, so do you want to be a hygienist and have this crap blown in your face as with a Cavitron 8 hours a day? I don't think so, right? So to me, the subject was just immediately, how are we going to address the air-water situation? And that's been my focus now for 2 weeks, just talking to people. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, for sure. I mean, it's not to say the dentists haven't been talking about hygiene. What I've heard them saying are things like this: what am I going to do when my hygienist says I don't want to come back to work because I'm afraid?
Yeah.
And that's been the talk, instead of spending the time trying to figure that out. So you got your Navage today. I don't want to one up you, but today I got my ozone generator.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I've been sitting on the idea of getting into ozone more. I've been speaking
Yeah.
about it for months, but I hadn't really pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I got mine today. I didn't. Anyway, it's to ozonate water, and though I didn't get my flask, so I just got the generator and the tubes. I think the flask is on back order.
Right.
But the idea of being able to have a patient do a pre-rinse with something that just nukes the bacteria and viruses and fungus, I really love. And the idea of running that through the water bottle that goes to our Cavitrons. I mean, I like those. We have some time here, so this is
Right.
the beauty of this. Is
Yeah.
in 32 years, I haven't had a chance to sit down and just sit there online, just checking out everything about air, water,
Yeah.
just the whole thing. And I always like to see the silver lining on things, but heck, I am going to be better and smarter for all
Yeah.
of this. But best of all, I will be able to be knowledgeable enough to ask my team to come back.
Yeah.
And that,
And tell them why, right?
yeah,
I've
for,
addressed the air and water situation. So I have I have found the ozone guru. I'm interviewing him. I got 2 interviews a day now the rest of the week. He's Friday morning. This guy's amazing. It's one of the things I've done because I'm just reaching out all over. I mean, I'm just stabbing and trying to. I've found some very smart people, but what I have found is that people that this was their passion. You know how people have weird passions. It's like this is all I think about. Those are the kind of people I want to get involved in. So I found a couple of different air people and then this ozone guy, and then I'm going to interview them and just pick their brain, right? So I think the whole idea of this Phoenix Dental Project was to bring the best in class solutions. This is a solution based community where we need to look forward to what. So anybody that thinks that things are not going to look different, they're really naive. That pendulum is going to be a guillotine if you really aren't savvy to know what the issues are. So I instantly knew that it was air, water, and then you and I, because of our focus for the past couple of years on dental hygienists specifically, and then seeing that article that Michelle Strange wrote, and she's very much an advocate for safe protocols for hygienists. Whew, boy, that's tough stuff. Okay, so anybody who doesn't address that and goes back, they may really get surprised.
Yeah, we definitely can come out of this better than we ever have. Our universal precautions, we got that after the whole HIV thing,
Right.
and we're better off for it. I mean, does anyone really want to go back and work on mouths barehanded? I don't think so. We'll be saying the same things. Do we want to stick our face in someone else's face without proper protection, or doing what we can to minimize those risks?
Yeah.
And so I look forward to, what's next. I mean, I'm not fearing anything. I think it's exciting because knowing the enemy is how you deal with the enemy. You can't just bury your head and hope nothing happens.
Right. And then you see the extreme, the negative pressure rooms, you see the posts and guys are putting up plastic in their operatories. I'm like, we don't want to go there, right? I mean, just think how disruptive that would be if the ADA said, the solution is a negative pressure room for a lot of dentists. And it's like, oh gosh, really, let's be practical about this, right?
Yeah, and that is getting practical solutions that we can use regularly, and that ultimately become sort of the new standard, become the new what's expected. And I think there's going to be 2 parts to it. One is the things we do for the scientific reasons, and then we also are going to have to answer to our patients and make them feel safe. And so there's going to be a lot. We have to think about those sorts of things and make sure everyone feels that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that. There's a whole messaging on the end of this when the office is reconfigured to, the people that want to take a leadership position and message the fact that, I'm so in the moment right now. I love marketing, but I haven't gotten to the messaging yet. I'm so preoccupied with the technology and these geeky people I'm meeting that are so smart. I don't even know what I learned today, that with ozone, 1 microgram equals 1 gamma.
Yeah.
I see this interchangeable language of 65 micrograms, 100 gamma, and I'm like, yeah, what is this? Like Star Wars stuff.
Oh,
But,
believe me, I spent the afternoon checking out my E-cylinder oxygen to see how
yeah,
much ozone I can make. So at 1/8 of a liter per minute, it's going to
right.
last me 100 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that there's 660 liters of oxygen in a bottle. I have no
Right.
idea.
Now we're gonna help define that and
Yeah,
introduce that too. And the other thing too, I'm getting a generator for home for fruits and vegetables. Okay,
yeah,
I'm going to use ozonated water. This isn't going away. Okay, this is that's wishful thinking. This idea of people picking up produce at the store and then you coming and picking it up and then taking it home, it's just an undefined deal, right? So ozone has so
yeah.
many layers of usage. It's been
Well,
around forever.
oh, for sure. And the thing is that we're dealing with, of course, this COVID-19, and there's obviously we have to take it seriously, but truly, it's kind of like with HIV. It turned out to be not as infectious as we thought it was going to be. We didn't
Right,
know if it was just going to be a little sweat or a tear or a breath. And then it turns out that you can stab yourself with a HIV infected needle and still have a good chance of not converting. But maybe the next virus won't. So even
right,
though people are going to die, are dying, and are going to die from this virus, if this had a higher kill rate, we would just really be in a really bad spot. So
yeah,
I look at this as being um, this is the rehearsal for the big one.
yeah,
And obviously we've failed in so many ways.
yeah.
And if you look at the OSHA website, you'll see that dentists and hygienists, we are in the very high risk category.
Yeah.
But and then what? And so
Right.
now what do we need to do? And so we need to figure this out, and we need to make sure that we're well prepared for the next one and the next one,
Right.
and we'll be able to go through these things. And it's just going to be it's going to be like a bad ice storm instead of
Well,
a
we can't afford the business interruption. I mean, obviously the world is essentially shut down, but we see what something is like a tiny viral particle can do to the world. It's really sobering, right? So, like you said, we have to be prepared going forward. We're going to have protocols in place. We're going to have supply chain in place to like the what if, because this was like the speed of this has really been, just staggering, for everyone, how fast it's gone. So anyway, so I appreciate your partnership in this website and helping to really bring solutions. Okay. This is not, a message board where everybody can go complain and do, whatever they do in those other places. This is going to be legit solutions. Okay. That's the requirement. The people, I'm hand selecting people that I know are really solid, smart people that are going to bring something to the table in this entire conversation, however it lasts. So I appreciate very much. And then we got the Hygiene Superstar podcast, and we'll keep grinding away at that too. So, but thank you for making the video tonight, and we'll push on.
All righty, great.
Okay, that was it.